Are you interested in getting into the organic food business in Africa, but maybe you're not sure who to sell it to, or you're probably looking to import it in Canada, US, Europe, or anywhere in the world, but you're not sure what the process is to get it from your farm to those markets? Or maybe you don't even get in this space because you don't have land and then you're not sure if it's profitable or not. In this video, not only I'm going to answer all of those questions, but I'm also going to help you figure out how you can sell it at the best price possible and even before it's ready. And I'll walk you through it step by step from the beginning to when you collect money. Let's get into it. Hey, what's up? My name is Aris and welcome to Diaspora Achievers. In this channel, I take the African diaspora on a journey to building businesses that contribute to the development of Africa, changes the African narrative, and helps you gain true freedom. So if you're new here and want to be part of this journey, here are your first two steps. Number one, go ahead and click on the subscribe button below this video and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified and never miss another video I release that'll help you build Africa. Number two, go ahead and get your free copy in the description section below this video, your free copy of the notes we take for you from all of the workshops that we host, where we invite folks who have transitioned from the diaspora to building business on the continent. So the other day I had a great conversation with a good friend of mine who works in the organic space. She's basically a sourcer, right? So she travels the world with the opportunity to find organic farm products, innovative products to come out here and sell it to across Canada and the States. And I'm sure there's plenty of similar companies in Europe and wherever you are in the world. So she's basically explained to me the process in details of how they find suppliers, how they source it, the different regulations, the pricing, everything. It was an amazing conversation. Today I'm going to share with you what I've learned from that fascinating conversation and fascinating world. Just as a side note, I never really considered it myself producing to export for two reasons. The first reason is that there's enough demand locally proven by the amount of import in the country that I was thinking, well, why bother with exporting to the West? The second question was, I always thought it was so complicated and so many procedures and not profitable, but the conversation with my friend completely changed my understanding and my perspective on things. I'm still going to focus on local market, but now I'm a little bit more open and looking at other options. The first question really to her was, what's really organic? And the answer is really simple. Organic food is something where in the full chain, in the full process of, planting all the way down to collecting and selling, there was no chemicals involved whatsoever. And this is interesting, especially in an African context, because we have this thinking that because it's in Africa, it's in a continent, there's no chemicals, everything is organic. Matter of fact, I did ask one of my guy who takes care of my land. After I had a conversation with my friend, I was like, hey, we need to get into the organic space because where good opportunities, let's make sure that everything we do from now on is organic. He's like, hey, my friend, everything we do over here on the continent and back home is organic, that we are good. And I told him, well, from what I know, we're using pesticide and then we're using a few chemicals to kill those insects and stuff like that. Just by that definition, we are not an organic. And then you realize that, oh shoot, that's true. So you folks running your business or running the farm, amazing that you're running an organic farm, but just by those little nuances, go around the fact that you're not organic. You cannot go and talk to a potential company and tell them, hey, my farm is organic. They'll find out. So first of all, we looked at what's organic, then we look at how to make organic food. And number three, the question was, me to her was, okay, what kind of food, what kind of crop, what should I be getting into that is profitable from an organic standpoint? She basically said, that's you and your business. You can just make whatever, as long as it's organic, you're going to be good and all right. And I started thinking about competition. I was thinking, well, over here, there's a lot of banana, for example, coming from, or mango coming from Latin America, for example, or coming from Asia, right? So wouldn't those be competitors for me to stay away from? She said that, hey, don't even worry about none of that stuff. Burkina Faso, for example, may also be appreciating and chasing your mango that's coming from Cameroon, just because the region are different and all that good stuff. So she said, don't worry about competition. Just make sure you grow your organic food from your place, and you're going to be all right. You're going to have a lot of demand for your product. However, something she said I had to be mindful of is, let's just say, an example of mango, should we go for dry or should we go for fresh? There are pros and cons to every single size. So for example, fresh, it may not get to wherever it needs to get to, especially if you send it to North America. Travel time may kill a lot of it versus going to Europe, where they can have it there overnight. Another example for dry, there's technology around it, how to store it and all that stuff. So there's pros and cons. Just go ahead. She told me, go ahead and look at the skill set, the machinery and all that stuff to make your decision. But either way, we're looking good. Now, the big question that I had was, who am I going to sell it to, right? Let's just say I follow everything. I have organic food 100%, from my region, my country and all that stuff. Who am I going to sell it to? She basically said that's the easy part, right? You just have to make sure you come up with, you have all your certifications. To give me a list of certifications, and obviously it depends on the region, the type of food and everything. And she also said, make sure you have a story. The story is super, super important. You can't just say that I'm going to sell my mangoes and that's pretty much it. You have to have a story behind it, tell where it came from, who's working on it, and all that stuff. That's going to be really, really helpful. Who to sell it to? There are a bunch of hunters, essentially sourcers like her, that you can approach if you know of them. But one of the best ways, if not the best way, is to look for those trade shows. There are a few trade shows in the world. You just go out there with your samples. Everybody is going to be there. And then if you do it right, for the most part, you'll be able to sell all of your production before it's even ready to one or multiple buyers. So it's selling, she said, is not an issue. The issue might be somewhere else, but finding a buyer for your food, it's not organic food rather, it's not going to be an issue. I'm actually working on a video about how to successfully start a African product store. So if you're interested, make sure you click on the subscribe button somewhere below this video, and make sure you turn the notification bell so you're notified as soon as it comes out. Now, a big question is pricing. Logically, how much are you going to sell it to? Obviously, you have to do a little bit of research. The beauty about it was that she basically had the opportunity to go to those trade shows so many times, and she basically could see how, if somebody has a great product, multiple vendors or buyers, will come to that stand essentially and trying to bargain, right? So you may say, okay, I want to sell it for, I don't know, X amount of dollars, and the next person is going to be selling it for more, right? So just make sure that you have all your certification ready. Make sure that you're ready to deliver the quantity that you're promising, and then you should be fine. Now, remember I said earlier that you cannot fool them about your organic food. Here's why, or here's how. You're probably going to be able to sign a contract on the spot. By the way, she's highly suggesting that if you go to the trade show, make sure you come with your contract ready, because you're going to sign it right there and then. Now, they may be wanting to come and visit your farm, right? And when they do that, they're actually going to make sure that what you said in the trade show is true when you come on the ground, right? The other thing too is they will most likely grab a sample of your soil, right, and ship it back, or bring it back to wherever they are, maybe in Europe, in North America, or wherever, right? And then they're going to be able to check if this oil has any chemical at all, and if that's the case, then you're pretty much burned. So don't worry, even if you're on the deep end of Congo, deep end of whatever country, they will get there, they'll get the sample, and they'll get it checked in their lab. So no need to be lying or anything like that. That wouldn't cut it. Now, another thing we discussed was around how to bring it in the country, right? So if I'm just getting started, I basically have my farm, we sign a contract, send you a container or whatever. How do I get into the country? Now basically negotiation, right? You can basically say to your your buyer that, hey, my responsibility is bring it to the port, and then you take care of it from there on to where you're going, versus you can decide to say, hey, take care of everything and ship it to your port. Let's just say Port of Maryland, for example, or California, or Brussels, or wherever. Once it's there, it's your responsibility. So that really depends on knowing the business, and then knowing the different terms when it comes to import and export. But that's an option that's available. And obviously, as part of that handshake, right, depending on if their responsibility now, depending on how you handle that handshake, let's just say they take responsibility from your port or from the port of the buyer, you can figure out baking transportation or not baking transportation. That's really up to you and the way you want to run the business, from what she was saying. And then remember, I said earlier in this video that even if you don't have land, you can easily get into the organic space. And here's a story that she told me. She told me she basically has one of her suppliers provide her mango, right? So what he basically does, he doesn't have land, he doesn't have employee. He basically goes from villages to villages and signs sort of an agreement with the local population, the local chiefs, and say, hey, for this season, I'm going to grab everything. So he basically doesn't own anything. All he has is goes around different villages with these trucks and basically, pays these people for their mangoes, put it in the truck, and then basically puts together a container or something, and then ships it out. There you go, right? You don't have to own land. You don't have to have employees. You just basically collect mangoes and take it there. Obviously, you have to make sure that the quality is there. You have to make sure the quantity is there too, right? Because those buyers are not looking for a one-off deal, but they're looking for consistent stream of food, essentially, of business from you, right? So, but she said, hey, this is a model that really works well. Again, it really depends on if you want to go for dry versus fresh. If you want to go for dry, then you can figure out how to dry it and ship it out. If you want to go fresh, then you can still go ahead and do that. There you go. This is how you get into the organic food space in Africa, with or without land, right? So now you have all the information you need. If you have any question, put it in the comments below this video. I'll be happy to answer the question or reach out to my friend and try and provide you with the best answer possible. But with this step-by-step approach, you should be able to get started at least, or start looking at where you should be focusing on. Go ahead and like this video to let YouTube know that you need more content for the diaspora, as well as again, share it with your friend if this is something that they would appreciate. If you know somebody who's trying to get into that space and had no idea, go ahead and share with as many people as possible. Peace.